Hello interwebs, Sir Talen here again, and I'm here today to talk to you about a couple of very special people and that I met on DeviantArt several years ago, and I would like to introduce you to. The first is a woman by the name of Sveryud, who lives in Virginia in the United States, and the second is a woman by the name of Naziha Zahed, who lives in Saudi Arabia. And here's where things are interesting. You see, they're both fantasy artists, and they both have accounts on a website called DeviantArt, which, despite the name, is mostly clean. But they got on there when they were teenagers, because they both were interested in fantasy, they both were interested in art, and they both worked very hard, got practice at it, and got very good at it. And in their teens, they started posting stuff, and because they were teenagers, they both decided to be very careful, and instead of showing off their real identities, they just used their names, online handles, which in Meg's case was Cheeko, and Cheeko, not Chico like Chico Marx, and Nez used the name Wazaga, which in Arabic means lizard. And coincidentally enough, when they came up with their online personas, being artists, they came up with basically little creatures based on themselves, or based on their interests, and they both turned out to be blue dragons for some odd reason. Blue anthropomorphic dragons. And despite coming up with this idea separately, eventually somebody noticed the coincidence and pointed it out to them both, and they both started talking to each other, and they both became good friends. And this is just nice and wonderful because Cheeko was raised a somewhat conservative Christian, and Nez lives in Saudi Arabia, so she's a Muslim. And despite the religious differences, they got along like gangbusters, and they've been good friends for approaching 10 years now, and they only just met. They only have gotten the opportunity to get together and meet each other this coming October, when they're both going to be going to the New York ComicCon, and they're both going to have time to hang out together. And they've just got a wonderful internet friendship, and they're going to meet face to face. I think it's great, because you have to look at their art, and I'm going to give links to it at the end of this thing, and realize that as I said, they work hard, they produce beautiful stuff, they produce beautiful collaborations when they get together to work together, and I consider it a great example of people getting past the obvious differences, because ever since 9/11, frankly, the relationships between the Christian West and the Middle East have been strained, to say the least, but that didn't matter to them. They were just interested in art, and just interested in having fun and chatting and talking, and that's something that we need more of, honestly. We need to stop arguing about religion and the differences in religion, and the fun thing is, when they talk about religion, they find the similarities between Christianity and the Muslim religion, because basically they're both the same part of the same worship of the same God. It's just the Christianity has their take on it, and the Muslim religion has theirs, which is just, they recognize Christianity. They recognize that's where the roots of their religion come from. I mean, they recognize Jesus as as a religious figure. Not in the same way that Christianity does, but they do recognize him. And so I think it's just a wonderful example of two people getting together and finding out what's important and what they're both interested in and what both drives them, instead of finding what's different about them and using that to drive a wedge between them. So if you want to do them both a favor, they are accepting commissions right now to support their trip to the New York Comic-Con convention in October. And so if you want to get good, reasonably priced art, go to their websites on DeviantArt, and you have to get an account there, and just send them an IM, and after you look at their prices, and buy something from them, because they're still accepting commissions, and you should support them. You should support them getting together, because that would be a beautiful thing. Alright, that's all for now.